After decades of tireless work by the brightest minds across Earth, humanity had finally cracked the code to faster-than-light travel. The breakthrough was no longer a dream or theoretical idea. It was real and ready to change everything. The announcement came quietly at first from the United Earth Federation. The scientists had been working on a new form of propulsion based on the discovery of an ancient alien artifact. Buried beneath the Martian surface, a device of unimaginable complexity, uncovered in a recent excavation, the artifact had sparked an era of unprecedented scientific collaboration, as nations put aside their differences to focus on one singular goal: unlocking the secrets of deep space travel. The new engine was a marvel of engineering, combining cutting-edge human ingenuity with the alien technology found on Mars. It was capable of propelling spacecraft to speeds that defied everything known about the laws of physics. The implications were immense. No longer would humanity be confined to its home solar system. The stars were now within reach, and it wasn't just a distant dream. It was reality. The first test flight of the new propulsion system was scheduled. With all eyes on the mission, humanity was poised to take its first steps beyond its world and into the cosmos. Across Earth, governments, scientists, engineers, and civilians held their breath as the day of the launch arrived. The U.S. Horizon, a state-of-the-art spacecraft designed specifically to test the new engine, sat on the launch pad. The crew was assembled with the best and brightest of human exploration, commanded by the seasoned veteran Captain David Rhodes. The ship's crew consisted of pilots, scientists, and engineers, all eager to make history. Each one knew that this test flight could either mark the beginning of an incredible new chapter or result in failure that would shake humanity's fragile confidence in its place in the universe. The launch was broadcast live across the world as the Horizon prepared for its first journey into the unknown. Millions watched from their homes. Tens of thousands gathered in the streets to witness the event. The countdown began. The anticipation was palpable. The engine powered up, humming with a strange energy. As the ship slowly ascended from Earth's surface, it cut through the atmosphere like a blade through air. As the Horizon began its climb into the void, the cheers from the Earth below grew louder. For a moment, it felt as if humanity had conquered the impossible, but nothing could prepare them for what happened next. With a sudden burst of light, the Horizon vanished from sight. It was gone in an instant, faster than the blink of an eye. No one could believe it had actually worked. The world held its breath as minutes stretched into hours, with no word from the crew. But then something unexpected happened. The ship reappeared in a distant part of the galaxy, more than 50 light-years away from Earth, and as the crew scrambled to confirm their location, an alarming message was received, not from Earth but from the stars. It wasn't a signal of greeting or congratulations, but a warning. The message was direct and simple: return to your world. The galaxy is not ready for your kind. And with that, the universe was no longer a place of infinite possibility, but one filled with unseen dangers. Earth's greatest achievement had just turned into a challenge, and an unknown future stretched out before them in the vast darkness of space. The crew of the U.S. Horizon sat frozen, staring at the strange message that echoed through their communication system. Return to your world. The galaxy is not ready for your kind. Captain David Rhodes' mind raced as the words replayed over and over in his head. Something about the tone was chilling, as if the sender wasn't just warning them, but passing a judgment that could not be ignored. The vastness of space stretched before them as they floated in uncharted space, far beyond any human had ever been before. The stars around them were unfamiliar, the silence oppressive. Captain Rhodes took a deep breath and turned to his crew. We need to figure out where we are. And who sent that message, he said, his voice steady, but his mind whirling with possibilities. This was supposed to be a historic mission, an unprecedented leap for humanity into the stars, not an encounter with something or someone who seemed to already know about them. But as he spoke, the crew began to work feverishly, scanning the area around them, searching for clues to their mysterious message. The Horizon's navigation systems blinked to life, but nothing made sense. The stars did not align with any known constellations in the databases, and the ship's scanners detected no nearby planets, no familiar space stations, nothing they had expected to find. But then something else appeared on their screens: strange shapes, large and metallic, moving in perfect formation, just beyond the ship's reach. They weren't just drifting, they were approaching, and their speed was terrifying. Seconds turned to minutes as Rhodes and his crew prepared for what was clearly an imminent encounter. He knew they had no choice but to communicate with these unknown visitors. Whatever they were, they had clearly noticed the horizon's sudden appearance in their part of the galaxy, and if they were anything like humanity in its early spacefaring days, that could mean trouble. Captain Rhodes initiated a broadcast from the ship's comm system to the approaching vessels. "This is Captain David Rhodes of the U.S. Horizon. We come in peace. We've just completed the first successful faster-than-light journey from Earth." There was no immediate response, only the ominous approach of the alien ships and the sudden tension that gripped the Horizon's crew. The silence grew heavier as the unknown ships neared. Then a voice rang through the comms, a calm yet undeniably powerful presence filled the space around them. "This is the Northa. We have been watching humanity for centuries. Now you have crossed a line you do not understand." Rhodes's heart skipped a beat. As he tried to decipher the message, it wasn't a threat exactly, but something far worse, a warning. The Northa explained that their species had once been part of a great alliance spanning many galaxies, but that they had made a terrible mistake long ago by advancing too quickly and unlocking technologies that the galaxy was simply not ready for. A great war had followed, and the destruction had been immense. They had watched humanity with growing concern as it had developed faster-than-light technology so quickly, and now it seemed the time had come for humanity to either be stopped or face consequences beyond their understanding. A silence fell over the horizon as the Northa's fleet took position around the ship. Their vessels, enormous and intimidating, they had not yet taken any hostile action, but their presence was enough to send a clear message. Humanity was now standing at the threshold of something far greater than anything it had ever known. Captain Rhodes understood the magnitude of the situation better than anyone else aboard the ship. The question now wasn't whether humanity had made history with its first successful FTL flight. It was whether it had just crossed a line that would cost it everything. The message had been sent, the warning clear, and all eyes in the galaxy were now on Earth and its fate. Captain Rhodes stood motionless before the holographic display, watching the fleet of alien ships loom like shadows in the distance. The Northa had made their presence clear, and their message was impossible to ignore. The alien vessels were silent, their weapons fully visible, yet there was no immediate hostility. The tension was suffocating. Each member of the crew understood the magnitude of the moment, but no one knew what came next. For the first time since humanity's leap into the stars, Rhodes felt the weight of the universe bearing down on them. The voice of the Northa resonated again through the comms, calm yet laced with unspoken power. "We have watched your species grow and evolve, reaching the stars at an alarming rate. Your breakthrough is not a triumph. It is a threat." The words hit hard, especially coming from an alien race so far beyond humanity in both technology and knowledge. "You are playing with forces you do not comprehend, forces that once shattered civilizations far more advanced than yours." Rhodes swallowed hard, his mind racing. The Northa were not making idle threats. They had seen what happened when a species gained too much power too quickly, and the results had been catastrophic. The universe had its rules, and the Northa believed those rules were meant to be upheld, no matter the cost. They had already seen what happened when beings like humanity broke them. The question now was what the Northa intended to do about it. "We are not here to destroy you," the Northa's voice continued, "but to stop you. The galaxy is not ready for your kind. You are too reckless, too young. You cannot fathom the consequences of your actions." The words seemed to hang in the air like a dark cloud. The crew of the Horizon exchanged glances, each person unsure of how to proceed. Captain Rhodes took a deep breath, his mind focused. "We're not here to conquer anyone," he replied, his voice steady, yet defiant. "We've only just begun to understand what's out there. The FTL engine is a tool for exploration, not destruction. We seek knowledge, not war." He looked toward his crew, seeing the fear in their eyes, but also the determination. Humanity was not about to back down. The Northa's response was cold and unwavering. "Your arrogance blinds you. You do not understand what you are dealing with. The galaxy is filled with ancient forces, beings who have lived for eons. You will not be allowed to disrupt the balance of power." Rhodes felt a shiver run down his spine as he processed the gravity of their words. The Northa were not just defending their own interests. They were protecting something far larger than themselves. But the captain also knew that if humanity was to survive in this vast galaxy, they could not afford to cower in fear. "We will not retreat," he said, his voice firm. "Earth is a peaceful world, and we intend to stay that way. But we will not allow anyone to dictate our future." The Northa fleet shifted slightly, the ominous ships appearing to take a more defensive posture. Rhodes had no idea what the Northa intended to do next, but one thing was certain. Earth's first step into the stars had triggered a reaction that no one on the horizon had been prepared for. As the crew waited for the next move, the thought weighed heavily on Rhodes. What were these ancient beings hiding? What had they seen and learned in their millennia of existence that made them so determined to stop humanity's progress? And most importantly, would Earth be able to survive the consequences of challenging an ancient power that had already witnessed the rise and fall of countless civilizations? The silent standoff continued, with Earth caught in the crosshairs of something much larger than itself. The galaxy had just grown infinitely more dangerous, and humanity was now its newest player. The tension in the horizon's command center was palpable. Captain Rhodes stared at the cold, unyielding face of the Northa fleet. They hadn't moved, not an inch, but their presence was more than enough to send a clear message. The galaxy's powerful forces were aware of Earth's leap into the stars, and the Northa's warning wasn't the only one they'd receive. They were no longer just a young species exploring their solar system. They were now an anomaly, a potential disruptor of a galactic order that had existed for eons. Back on Earth, the United Earth Federation convened an emergency meeting. World leaders, scientists, and military officials gathered in the newly constructed Galactic Hall, a symbol of Earth's unity and newfound ambition. This meeting was unlike any before it. Earth had always been isolated in the grand expanse of space, but now they were at the heart of something much bigger. And the Northa were only the beginning. The atmosphere in the Galactic Hall was thick with uncertainty. Leaders from various nations had spent years competing against each other for supremacy in space, but now they faced a much larger question. What would they do if the galaxy itself demanded their submission? The Northa's warning had come with a clear ultimatum. Either dismantle the FTL technology and submit to the Galactic Council's oversight, or face consequences. A deep murmur ran through the room as the Federation's representatives began to speak. "We cannot allow ourselves to be bullied by an ancient species, no matter how advanced they may be," argued one of the military commanders. "We've worked too hard to get to this point. We can't just throw it all away." But the scientist in charge of the FTL project, Dr. Elena Voss, took a different approach. "It's not about fear. It's about responsibility. The Northa have seen civilizations fall because of reckless use of technologies they didn't fully understand. If we continue on this path, we risk repeating their mistakes." As the debate grew heated, the doors to the council chamber opened, and a delegation from the Galactic Council entered. The council was composed of various alien species, each with its own history, culture, and level of technological advancement. Some were peaceful and diplomatic, others fiercely protective of their territories. Yet they all shared one common interest: the preservation of balance within the galaxy. And now, they had to decide what to do about Earth. The council's spokesperson, an alien named Orcs, stepped forward, his voice deep and resonant. "Humanity has crossed a threshold. Your technology has the potential to alter the balance of power in this galaxy, but you are not alone in your discovery. There are many who fear what you represent. You will be given a choice. You can join the Galactic Council and accept oversight of your FTL technology, or you can reject it and face the consequences of your defiance." Rhodes listened intently to the broadcast, the message being transmitted from Earth's command center. His mind raced with the implications of the Council's ultimatum. This wasn't just about Earth anymore. It was about humanity's place in the galaxy, about forging alliances, and navigating the complex web of interstellar politics. The stakes were far higher than anything they had faced before. Back aboard the Horizon, the crew was divided. Some believed that aligning with the Council was the wisest path, while others, inspired by their captain's earlier defiance, argued that Earth should not bow to any alien power. As Captain Rhodes sat alone in his quarters, his thoughts drifted back to the Northa. They had warned Earth, yes, but they had also given humanity an opportunity, a chance to prove that it could play by the galaxy's rules without being crushed by them. Should we comply? Rhodes muttered to himself, staring out into the vastness of space. The stars twinkled, offering no answers, only more questions. The time had come for humanity to make a decision. Would Earth join the Galactic Council and accept its place among the stars, or would it stand alone, carving its own path in a universe that had just begun to recognize its existence? Whatever choice they made, it was certain. Earth's future had already been set into motion, and the galaxy was watching closely. The decision weighed heavily on Captain Rhodes's shoulders as he sat in the dimly lit command room of the U.S. Horizon. His crew, once filled with eager anticipation for the future, now seemed weary, their faces clouded with doubt and uncertainty. The Galactic Council had given Earth an ultimatum: accept their oversight and join the established order, or face the consequences. Rhodes understood the enormity of the situation. Earth was a young civilization, inexperienced in the galactic theater, but humanity was also fiercely independent, unbowed by centuries of struggle and adversity. Captain. Lieutenant Harper's voice cut through the silence. She stood before him, her expression one of both concern and resolve. The Federation is leaning toward acceptance. We're being told that it's the only way forward. The Council has the power to help us avoid conflict. Rhodes turned toward the display of Earth below. He could see the swirling blue oceans, the lush green continents, the world they had fought so hard to preserve. He couldn't let it slip into the hands of those who viewed humanity as nothing more than a threat, a danger to the galactic status quo. They had come this far, they had reached the stars, and now they were being asked to bend their knee. Harper, I've seen what happens when a species becomes complacent, when they simply accept the will of others without questioning it, Rhodes said, his voice low but steady. This is our moment to prove that humanity won't just be a footnote in the galaxy's history. We won't let anyone decide our future for us. The tension aboard the Horizon was palpable as the Federation's decision loomed. Earth's leaders were torn. Some, including the president of the United Earth Federation, argued that humanity had to play by the Council's rules if they were to survive. But others, notably Dr. Elena Voss, the scientist who had spearheaded the FTL project, voiced a growing dissent. We've come too far to be dictated to, she had said. Our technology isn't a weapon. It's the key to exploring new frontiers. If we bow to the Council, we risk losing everything that makes us human. The drive to explore, to innovate, to create our own destiny. As the debate raged on Earth, the situation aboard the Horizon took a turn. Just days before the Federation's decision was to be announced, a new and unexpected message came through the ship's communication systems. It was from the Cavell, a mysterious and highly advanced alien species that had been quietly observing humanity from the shadows. Their message was simple, yet it changed everything. We know the Council's stance on your species. The Cavell ambassador's voice echoed through the comms. And we've seen what happens when they try to control the destiny of others. You are not alone in this. We offer you our support, should you choose to stand against the Council. The Cavell were an enigmatic race, known for their vast technological prowess and their neutral stance in galactic politics. They were neither allies nor enemies of the Council, and their intervention could shift the balance of power. Their offer of support was both a lifeline and a gamble. To accept it would mean aligning with a species that had always kept itself apart from galactic conflicts, one that operated on its own terms. But it also meant that humanity wouldn't have to face the Council alone. Captain Rhodes paced back and forth, contemplating the offer. "This is it," he muttered under his breath. "We can stand tall or bow down. If we choose to fight, it won't just be for survival. It will be for our place in the galaxy, for the right to define our own future." With a steady hand, Rhodes sent a response to the Cavell, accepting their offer. "We'll stand with you. The Council may try to break us, but we will not kneel." Word of Earth's defiance spread like wildfire across the galaxy. The Council, stunned by the boldness of humanity's refusal, scrambled to reassess their approach. For the first time in history, a small young species had openly defied the established powers. The ramifications of this decision would echo across the stars. Humanity's stand had ignited a spark. The question now was whether the galaxy would burn in the fire of conflict, or whether a new, more balanced order would rise from the ashes. The Horizon and its crew were about to find out. The decision had been made, and there was no turning back. The Federation's bold stance against the Galactic Council had rippled through the galaxy, igniting both fury and admiration in equal measure. Earth had chosen to stand its ground, rejecting the Council's offer of oversight. But they were not alone in their defiance. The Cavell, the ancient race that had extended a hand of support, now stood at their side, offering technology and expertise that could level the playing field. The question was no longer about survival. It was about reshaping the future of the galaxy itself. The first few weeks following the decision were tense, filled with diplomatic exchanges and military posturing. The Council, once confident in their ability to control the galaxy's fate, now found themselves facing a united front of humanity and the Cavell. The Council's reaction had been swift and unforgiving. They sent a fleet of warships to Earth's solar system, a massive armada that dwarfed anything humanity had ever seen. Their ships loomed in the distance, an unmistakable signal that the stakes had escalated from political discourse to open conflict. Captain Rhodes and his crew aboard the Horizon watched from their vantage point as the Council's fleet moved into position. The first salvo had already been fired in a war that none of them had anticipated. "This isn't just about us anymore," Rhodes muttered, eyes locked on the holographic display of the incoming enemy fleet. "This is about the future of every species that dares to chart its own course." The Federation had bolstered its defenses with the help of the Cavell, whose advanced technology was now fully integrated into Earth's military assets. The Horizon, once just a test vessel, had become a symbol of humanity's resilience, its FTL engine now capable of moving at unpredictable speeds, outpacing even the most advanced enemy ships. But the true power lay in the alliance they had forged. The Cavell's ships, sleek and nearly invisible to conventional radar, could slip past the enemy's lines without detection, launching devastating strikes from the shadows. Yet the Council was not easily deterred. They had fought wars before, their fleets hardened by centuries of experience. Their strategy was methodical, their command structure unshakable. But what they didn't understand was the ferocity and unpredictability of humanity. Earth had never known peace without struggle. For centuries, it had fought wars, endured natural disasters, and survived in a hostile universe. It had developed a unique resilience that none of the galactic powers could have anticipated. As the first battles raged across the outer rim of the solar system, the Horizon led the charge, using its newly enhanced engines to outmaneuver the Council's ships with unprecedented speed. The Cavell, meanwhile, struck silently from the darkness, attacking the Council's fleet with pinpoint precision. But the Council was not without its own tricks. They had hidden their most powerful weapon, an ancient construct, buried deep within the heart of their fleet, a superweapon capable of wiping out entire planets with a single blast. On Earth, the Federation's leaders convened in an emergency meeting. They knew that time was running out. If the Council's superweapon was unleashed, it would mean the end of Earth's resistance. Yet, Rhodes's defiance was unwavering. "We've come this far," he said. "We're not going to let them crush our future. We fight, we win, or we die trying. We show them what it means to face humanity. As the battle reached its zenith, the Horizon made a desperate move, pulling ahead of the rest of the fleet and engaging the Council's superweapon head-on. The ship's engines roared to life, its FTL capabilities pushing the crew beyond the limits of what they thought possible. But as the Horizon closed in on the Council's weapon, they faced something far worse than they expected. A trap. The Council had anticipated their every move, and now they had the upper hand. The battle was far from over, but with humanity's future hanging in the balance, it was clear that the galaxy would never be the same again. The Horizon hurtled through the stars, its FTL engines pushing the ship to the brink of what was physically possible. Captain Rhodes gripped the command console, his knuckles white from the intensity of the moment. The crew was tense, eyes locked on the approaching Council fleet and the massive superweapon that had emerged from their ranks, a weapon capable of ending the war before it truly began. They had been outmaneuvered, lured into a trap, but Rhodes wasn't one to give up. Not now, not when humanity's future was at stake. "Hold steady," Rhodes barked, his voice calm but unwavering. "We can't back down now. Keep the course. Full speed ahead." The Horizon's engines roared as it pushed even further into the heart of the battle. The Council's warships surrounded them, their dark forms swarming like locusts, but the Horizon was faster, its movements unpredictable. The Cavell, their ships nearly invisible in the void, darted in and out of the fray, striking at the heart of the enemy fleet with deadly precision. Yet the true focus was on the superweapon, an enormous crystalline structure that pulsed with energy, capable of vaporizing entire planets in a single shot. The Council was trying to bait them into a confrontation, but Rhodes knew the clock was ticking. The weapon was too powerful to leave unchecked, and they were getting closer to it with every passing moment. They had only one shot to take it down, but even that felt like a long shot. The Council had already outwitted them once, and now they were gambling everything on a final, desperate strike. "Captain, the superweapon's charge is increasing," Lieutenant Harper called out, her voice tight with urgency. "At this rate, it'll fire in less than 5 minutes." Rhodes felt his heart race. If they didn't disable the weapon now, Earth itself could be wiped from existence, along with any hope of freedom in the galaxy. They had no time to spare, and their window of opportunity was shrinking by the second. "Prepare for a direct assault," Rhodes ordered. "We're going to take it out before they get a chance to fire." With a grim nod, the crew readied themselves for what was about to come. The Horizon turned sharply, angling its trajectory toward the crystalline weapon at the center of the Council fleet. Their FTL engines flared as the ship sped toward the heart of the enemy's formation, darting in and out of the crossfire, narrowly avoiding blasts from the Council's ships. The battle had turned into a chaotic dance of energy beams, missiles, and evasive maneuvers. The Cavell, working in perfect sync with the Horizon, engaged the Council's flanking forces, ensuring that the superweapon was the primary target. The Council's warships, although powerful, were losing ground. But the true challenge lay ahead, reaching the superweapon before it could fire. The Horizon's shields flickered under the onslaught, but they held, pushing forward through the chaos. It was a reckless move, one that could end in disaster, but it was the only option. Captain Rhodes gritted his teeth as the distance between them and the superweapon closed. He could feel the tension in the air, the uncertainty of whether they would make it in time. But he had always believed that humanity's greatest strength was its ability to adapt, to think beyond the obvious, to improvise when faced with insurmountable odds. 500 meters, Lieutenant Harper called out, her voice steady despite the chaos. "We're almost there." The superweapon loomed ahead, a shimmering, otherworldly structure, its energy core pulsing with a malevolent glow. Rhodes gripped the controls with determination. "Now, Lieutenant, fire everything we've got." The Horizon's cannons erupted in a series of blinding flashes, the energy beams streaking across space toward the superweapon. It was a desperate, all-or-nothing shot. The enemy was closing in, their ships beginning to circle around them like vultures. But the horizon's strike was precise, aimed directly at the heart of the crystalline structure. There was a moment of silence. Then, an explosion, massive and blinding. The superweapon shuddered, its core destabilizing as it imploded in on itself, the shockwave rippling out in all directions. The Council's fleet reeled from the blast, the force of the explosion throwing their ships off course, their communications scrambling. "We did it," Harper breathed, her voice filled with a mix of awe and disbelief. "We actually did it." Rhodes didn't allow himself to feel relief yet. The battle wasn't over. The Council fleet, though severely weakened, was still a threat. And now, humanity had made an irreversible move. It had challenged the galaxy's most powerful forces and survived. But as the horizon pulled back from the wreckage, it was clear that this victory had only just begun to shape the galaxy's new reality. The aftermath of the battle was quiet, almost eerie. The once dominant Council fleet, now a scattering of disabled ships and wreckage, drifted in the vacuum of space. The horizon, battered but intact, pulled away from the chaos, its crew exhausted but resolute. Captain Rhodes stood on the bridge, watching as the vastness of space stretched out before them, the wreckage of the Council's superweapon still flickering in the distance. It was over, at least for now. But the war had left an indelible mark on the galaxy, and humanity had become a central player in the struggle for its future. "We did it, Captain," Lieutenant Harper said, her voice laced with both relief and disbelief. "The superweapon's gone, and the Council's fleet is in disarray. We actually won." Rhodes nodded, his eyes fixed on the view screen. "For now, yes, but this is just the beginning. The Council won't let this go without a response, and now we've made enemies of some of the most powerful forces in the galaxy." The crew knew it wasn't over. The Council's defeat didn't mean they would simply retreat. The galaxy was a complex web of alliances, and humanity's defiance had set off ripples that would shape the future in ways they couldn't yet comprehend. Yet, despite the uncertainty, Rhodes felt a flicker of something deeper, a sense of hope. They had done what no one thought was possible. Humanity had stood tall in the face of overwhelming odds, and they had proven that they could fight, adapt, and survive. And that, he believed, was something that no force in the galaxy could ignore. "Captain," came a voice from the communication console, drawing Rhodes from his thoughts. It was Dr. Elena Voss, speaking from Earth's command center. "We've just received a transmission from the Galactic Council. They're requesting a ceasefire and a meeting." The words hung in the air. The Council was asking for a meeting. After everything that had transpired, Rhodes exchanged a look with Harper. This was unexpected, to say the least. "Prepare to receive the transmission," Rhodes ordered, his voice calm but tense. "Let's see what they have to say." Moments later, the view screen came to life, displaying a figure that was as imposing as it was enigmatic. It was Orcs, the spokesperson for the Council. His alien features, an amalgamation of smooth, translucent skin and glowing patterns, gave off an eerie, almost divine presence. But there was something different about him now. The arrogance that had characterized the Council's earlier communications was gone, replaced by a more measured tone. "Captain Rhodes," Orcs began, his voice no longer cold but curious. "Humanity has shown great resilience and great courage. We did not foresee such defiance. It is unprecedented." Rhodes felt his pulse quicken. "What do you want, Orcs? What are the terms of this ceasefire?" Orcs' eyes, or what passed for eyes, glimmered with what could only be described as respect. "We offer you a seat at the table. The events of the past weeks have forced the Council to reconsider its approach. We no longer see humanity as a threat, but as a potential ally in the complex balance of the galaxy. Your people have proven that they are not to be underestimated." The words struck Rhodes like a hammer. The Council, the very force that had sought to control humanity's destiny, was now offering an olive branch. But it came with a weighty question. What would humanity do with this newfound power? You're asking us to join the Council, Rhodes said, his voice measured. To be part of the system we've been fighting against. Othrix's expression softened. Not to be controlled, Captain, but to help guide the future of the galaxy. The Council has its faults, its limitations. We recognize that now. And we need new perspectives. Yours, specifically. Rhodes felt the gravity of the offer, the weight of history pressing down on him. The galaxy was a vast, dangerous place, and humanity had just carved its place in it. But what role would they choose? To submit to the established powers, or to forge their own path, with the galaxy as both their ally and their adversary? After a long silence, Rhodes finally spoke, his voice unwavering. Humanity will not bow. We will not be pawns in anyone's game. But we will not hide either. We will stand on our own terms. Othrix's gaze was steady, as though he had expected this answer. Very well. The future is yours to shape, Captain Rhodes. But know this, there are many who will watch closely, and many who will challenge you. You have made an enemy of the old order, but in doing so, you have gained the chance to create something new. As the transmission ended, Captain Rhodes turned to his crew, the weight of their decision hanging in the air. The battle had been won, but the war, for the soul of the galaxy, was just beginning. The stars stretched before them, endless and full of promise. Humanity's journey had only just begun, and whatever lay ahead, one thing was certain. Earth was no longer just a footnote in the galaxy's history. It was now a force to be reckoned with.